Jerry Skinner. I'm a retired wildlife biology professor. I live in Ithaca, New York right now. My great uncle, Michael Shea, is buried there with his wife, Kate Driscoll. Um, they immigrated from County Kerry, Ireland, and eventually made it to Leadville. He worked on the railroad. He was apparently not a miner, and did a lot of work on the railroad. And he's in a part of the cemetery that does have headstones. I've seen his headstone. I've been at work on my family tree for nearly 50 years, and it was just maybe 5 years ago that I was finally able to find him. In Ireland, he was SHEA, and when he was in Colorado, he was SHAY, and hence that's why I had a heck of a time finding him. He was kind of a lost person, and then I lucked out and found him, and then subsequently learned about the cemetery. Where this is from? It's from a book, and I don't. Maybe the book might have been called "The Salt Colorado Midland Town," and on page 295, there's this account: Mike Shea, and so Mike Shea and Kate Driscoll were married in New York. He came to Colorado in 1887, where his first assignment was work as a foreman on the section of the Hagerman Tunnel. Kate was one of the very few women ever to live in the all-men town of Hagerman. Perhaps she was the one who had the garden that was described in the Midland chapter of this same book. In 1889, they moved to Aspen Junction, but soon afterward to Leadville. Mike was transferred back to Busk to care for the Busk-Ivanhoe Tunnel in 1893. Their son John was born there, probably without benefit of doctor or nurse. The family moved back and forth from Busk to Leadville several times. In 1897, their daughter Maggie was born in Leadville. In 1904, they lived in Basalt, where Mike was the section foreman for 7 years. He then worked at Woody on the Rio Grande, then moved to Marble, and worked 7 years for the Crystal River Railroad. His last move was back to Leadville, where he worked for the Colorado and Southern Railroad until he retired in 1927. They made their home in Glenwood at that time, and he died there February 25, 1929. Mrs. Shea died in Basalt in 1942, and they are both buried in Leadville. So I shared it with my family, and this coming weekend I'm traveling to Ohio to a Shea family reunion, and I'm sure there'll be some discussion of it there too. I lived in Scranton, Pennsylvania for 30 years, and that's has an extensive coal mining history. And I was shocked to learn of the mining conditions and the conditions for the miners there, and realized that pretty much the same thing was happening in Colorado, reading and seeing about what the mines were like, and the amount of manual labor and working conditions and the number of people who died. So yes, I found it pretty moving. Yesterday, when I was preparing, I saw a video about the dedication of the memorial in the cemetery, and then subsequently read and saw some videos about the Irish diaspora that took an awful lot of Irish miners to the cemetery, and read about strikes and poor working conditions and many unmarked graves. I thought what I saw in the video at the dedication ceremony, I thought that was all quite respectful and impressive. So I think that what's been going on already is really quite nice.